It's the Annie and Dave Daily somewhere here on whatever we're doing. I'm Andy O'Reilly. There's Dave Cackley. It is Wednesday. It's opening day of firearms season.
That's right.
Lots of people out there shooting deers. I thought of two things this morning. One were the glory days in radio where at 5 a.m. the calls would start to hear Fred Bear.
Of course.
I'm working on resolving that in my life because
What's to resolve?
It got a little annoying.
Well, no, it's tradition. It's like
I know
Alice's
that,
restaurant
and that's what I'm trying to grab a hold of. I'm just trying to picture. I'm trying to picture a happy-go-lucky hunter wanting to hear the song for good luck, right? Yeah,
makes sense.
But what I'm picturing is that guy that called at 3 a.m. wanting to hear Freebird because his uncle's cousin's third brother's son from a first marriage passed away, and it's like, really, you called 2 hours ago wanting to hear Stairway to Heaven, and now you're sobered up and you want to go hear Fred Bear? Really? You've been on the phone with me all night long, dude. So I'm working toward that.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're working through your issues.
I'm working through some issues, but we ran out last night to grab a pizza, and Cindy had not heard yesterday's show yet, so she played it in the car. And the other thing I'm trying to wrap my arms around, if you will, was yesterday. You told me to stay in my lane.
I was half joking.
That was, I mean, and you know what? That's fine. You can tell me to stay in my lane. You were the first man ever in the history of my life, to tell me to stay in your lane. Okay. It hit me as awkward, is what it did.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, but I was talking about, it was a football related question. Now, if it were NASCAR back in the day, I would stay in my lane. I would, but this was back when you were in it, you were a huge fan, and you understood the ins and outs. Like you were, in my life, you were a NASCAR expert.
Yes.
I was a pseudo kind of casual fan at best. I watched it when I was a kid, but I grew out of that for whatever reason. Some people stick with it, I've been in football and around it and analyze it since I was like 7 years old.
Absolutely.
So
can't disagree.
That was,
it's just the phrasing. Like
the phrasing, it's a stay in your lane kind of,
It's effeminate.
What's effeminate about it?
It's effeminate. Yeah. What you should say is, dude, you don't know what you're talking about.
I could say, but
that's a better response than stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane is just stay in your lane. It's not your. This is not your lane because you have like zero. It's not just a lack of knowledge. You can have knowledge if you want. You're just not interested. It's not your thing.
I love football. I'm just like anybody else.
You don't.
Yeah, I don't.
You hate it.
You
like legitimately. You're annoyed by you're the only man I know who's actually just kind of annoyed by the sport, just in general. Well, it annoys you for some reason.
It's loud.
That is feminine.
No.
Your reaction. I know
that's
a lot.
Genuine
I know a lot of
masculinity
women
in your face right there.
I know a lot of women who are far more knowledgeable about football than you are.
Well, good for them.
That's just in there, and that's not something
I'm just saying that the stay in your lane phrase is something that's just, it's overplayed. It's
well, you just said, you say
a lot of girls use
it.
And like, dude, shut up is better than.
See, to me, that's rude. Stay in your lane is simple, concise, direct, and illustrates what I was trying to say, which is this is not your area of expertise.
Well, my area of expertise is vast, and I'm just saying. Oh, in fact, last night, you know what? To prove my vastness of expertiseism, I was watching a show on languages that die.
Oh,
fascinating.
Was it all about Sanskrit or?
No, it was more about modern languages that are still spoken in places like rural Australia, and people that are literally down to the one last person on Earth that understands a language, and how they're trying to archive.
That's very useful.
That's very useful. Yeah, it's amazing. Because if you think about it, the lost culture that comes with the lost language is amazing. But what did you watch?
No, what I'll say this about culture. That's an interesting. The thing is, the reason certain cultures die out, and people don't feel comfortable saying this, but I think it's accurate, although not always. And I'm as per the norm, I am open to being wrong. But the reason certain cultures and certain languages die out is because they're inferior. A lot of times, not always. Not always. Sometimes there could be a reason why some shit is kind of that. But for the most part, I would say the reason certain cultures are superior to other cultures. They just are. I think.
That's
now, I may be wrong on that.
Yeah, you probably are.
But I don't think I am.
Okay.
I'm all for, like I said, I'm all for embracing where you came from. And also kind of, okay, if you move to a different country, different state, different culture, you can have yours, but you need to assimilate. Okay. We're not going to come up. We don't need to come up with special things for you specifically. Like, I'm big on. I'm all in. Let's bring everybody in, but you assimilate.
Right.
My dad used to say this years ago. Like, the world is not going to adapt to you. You have to adapt to your world, and you have to adapt to whatever culture, whatever country, whatever state you decide to live in, whatever city. Like, if you're a big city guy and you move to a small town, or you're a small town guy and you move to a big city, you got to assimilate. You got to understand that.
If you're the Aboriginal people of Australia and you were colonized by the English and they pushed you all out of the way and did all that. That ring a bell?
Yeah, that does. That's why I said it's not always the case.
Okay.
That cultures die out because they're lesser than. That's not always the case.
Okay. Well, that was kind of the crux of this one. And, that was the idea there. And I didn't really want to get into a big debate over it or anything, but I was thinking you were probably watching the Golden Girls. Well, I was enriching my mind.
You know what I was doing? I was watching an old episode.
It's a family show.
I was watching an old episode of Hawaii Five-0 from 1968.
God.
Ricardo Montalban played an Asian guy. And they had his eyes fixed. It was really weird because they had this weird makeup on him that made him look. And it's one of those things that you couldn't get away with doing now, but this was back before like there were like 4 Asian actors back then, or 4 that they let into, and this wasn't that long ago. 1968, you think that's a little over 50 years. So 55 years. So yeah, it was just like, it was just weird.
Yeah.
It was a weird look. It's like you couldn't figure out, you couldn't come up. Pat Morita wasn't available for that role. I don't know.
Well, Pat Morita may not fit the role of a bad guy on Hawaii Five-0.
Oh, he could totally do it.
He's small. They don't really. Even Ken Jeong doesn't really fit the role of a bad guy.
Now Ken Jeong gets all those. Ken Jeong gets it because
he just jumps out of trunks naked and freaks everybody.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Are we going to do news here today, or what are we going to do?
Well, we could, or we could continue going on and on about whatever. I don't even remember what we were talking about originally.
Right.
But let's get into it. North Korea claims it has successfully tested new solid fuel engines designed for intermediate range ballistic missiles. The rogue nation is working on enhancing its nuclear arsenal with harder to detect weapons. Those weapons can potentially target U.S. military bases in Guam and Japan, whatever. How's about you feed your perpetually starving population and you leave the nukes to the grown-up countries?
Well, that's because
that's what we're saying.
They want to stand there and look tough.
Exactly.
They don't care about
you can't do it.
The rest, and whatever. But here's the thing: I would counter with. There are countries on Earth, and I'm not going to name names, but they can literally watch everything that happens on the planet down to about 3 feet. Mm-hmm. So if they're testing rockets in North Korea, and there's something to worry about, I think we'll hear.
Yeah. I again, it's one of those things. I always enjoy when North Korea does the look at me, look at so look what we're doing. Oh, we got these. You better look out. You better mind. You better. No, not happening. We don't care. Moving on. According to the latest research, head lice has been around as long as humans. Researchers discovered the blood-sucking parasite on human remains that were 10,000 years old in Brazil. There's also an inscription on a 3,700-year-old, I don't even know, like an ivory lice comb. How do they know that was a lice? It was an ivory lice comb that's 3,700 years old. I don't know that it was specifically used just for lice.
It's made by Rid-X.
Right. Yeah. Rid, yeah. That might be the... Anyway, the inscription might be the oldest known sentence written with an alphabet.
Wow.
It's simultaneously super gross and super interesting. It's another one of those things my old history teacher would say, doesn't put any more bread on your table. Just interesting.
Well, thank you for another wonderful little, what do they call those? Anecdote. That's
there.
That's what.
I'm not sure if that's what it was, but okay.
In my world, I've come across lice once in my first marriage, and I said, "Oh,
that's when you."
Oh my God, what are we gonna do about this? I said, "I'll tell you what. You run to the store and get the shampoo and the comb. I'll stay here with the kids and whatever." And she came home and they were as bald as they could get.
Oh my God!
Shaved them on the spot. I said, "Boys,
how drunk were you when you shaved their heads?"
I wasn't. No,
you weren't really
for the day. Nope.
You were completely sober because this was back in your ne'er-do-well drinking days.
Yep.
And you shaved the heads of your stepchildren.
Time to go. And you know what? Wow. For boys, there is one dude. Do you know what it's like to get lice in your house?
Oh, dude, I had it. I had lice when I was like in fourth grade or something. Oh, it was disgusting.
It's a royal pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. The only surefire way to get rid of all of them is to make sure there's no hair. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you what. Right downstairs we went. Out came the clippers. And off the hair went. By the time she got home, they were two skinny little balls.
How pissed was she?
I don't know.
You don't remember? Come on, this was because you remember shaving their heads. You don't remember her coming home and going, "What did you do?"
No, I don't remember that.
What? Wow.
I really don't. I just said, "Hey, problem fixed."
There you go.
I took charge.
All right.
That's what I did.
Finally, as we mentioned, it is the opening day of firearm deer hunting season. Put the bows down, hunters. Time to break out the real artillery. Firearm season sees the most success for deer hunters across the state. Last year saw over 150,000 deer kills. This, according to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. But apparently there are something in the neighborhood of 25,000 fewer hunters over the last decade, so they're worried about the increasing deer population, kind of wreaking havoc and causing accidents.
I was coming out of a doctor's office yesterday afternoon. I taped an interview with a couple of doctors, literally right on a hospital campus. I mean, big hospital, medical buildings. When you get a hospital campus, you got a couple of professional buildings, a couple of surgeons' offices adjacent, and all that kind of stuff. I was coming out of this doctor's office after taping an interview. I literally was 3 feet away from a turkey to talk about how wildlife is booming.
Yeah.
I walked out and I'm looking around. There's a guy standing over here. There's a car moving over here. And I looked straight in front of me. There's a turkey walking through the parking lot and 4 of his friends. And I'm like, what is this? Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was like, wow, it's real.
Now, of course, we've got our mutual friend and colleague, Becky Bashotti. Yes. She's got to be out there. I want, again, and I implore not just her, but all the hunters, I want to see those bloody carcasses on the Facebook. It is awesome. There's something so fantastic about that. Yes. I don't know what it is because they're beautiful animals.
They are beautiful.
For some reason, I love to watch them. I was talking with some coworkers today about, I love watching deer. They're delicious and they're beautiful and they're majestic. And there's just something about I don't know what it is, the natural kind of order of things when you got a hunter killing a deer, and you see the photos, and I don't know why. I don't know if that's a positive, a negative, or a completely neutral part of my personality that's just into that. I don't.
Manly men.
Yeah, and manly women doing it. Well, obviously,
that's how it works.
There you go. Sports. Duke knocks off Michigan State in the Champions Classic, 74-65. Michigan, latest playoff rankings for college football, they're still number 3. Georgia overtakes Ohio State at number 1. Ohio State moves down to 2. Florida State is 4th. Still waiting. Later this week, we'll find out if Harbaugh is going to get to coach against Maryland on Saturday. They got a hearing set for sometime on Friday. So we'll see how that shakes out. But that's sports.
I can't wait till the Harbaugh thing is over just so you stop talking about it. Honest to God.
Yeah, I think it's overblown, but it's
a story.
Of course
you do, but you won't let up on it. So
I can't because it's
all right.
It matters.
Cable television for $1,000. Here's another freebie for you.
Well, yesterday wasn't a freebie. I got it wrong.
Yeah, you did, but this one's just this one. Any sucker can answer this question.
Okay.
Even me answered this one.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hard Knocks returned to this pay TV channel in 2021 featuring the Dallas Cowboys.
That would be HBO.
Wow.
Home box office. That's still that Hard Knocks probably the greatest reality show.
Greatest. Oh, it's so great. Oh.
Okay.
Locker room footage.
Again, you don't get it. You just don't get it.
Do you like the shower scenes the best?
Okay, again, you do this. It's interesting for you, Mr. Fry, to kind of give me these little needles, these little kind of things. And it's supposed to be a shot at me.
No, I'm not. I'm not taking a shot at all.
I would totally embrace that. If that were me, I would totally embrace it. But
right.
you kind of use it as a potential dig. I find
Dave,
that
how long have I known you? I've never done this. I've never done such a thing. And how dare you accuse me of that? I love Hard Knocks when they're snapping each other with towels. What a great show.
Yes. There you go. Keep it up. You want to make some San Francisco bathhouse references while you're at it? Because we got time.
Well, where's Drew Harmon? I'm sure he knows. See you tomorrow.
After they wade through the feces. Anyway. See ya.
Happy Wednesday, Muskegon. Our pleasant weather pattern will stick around today with plenty of sunshine, so let's take a look at your forecast brought to you by Trinity Health. Not only will the pleasant weather last into today, but it will also stick around into Thursday. Highs on Thursday will probably get over 60 degrees actually, and then we'll have rain showers to contend with for Thursday night going into Friday morning with a cold front, and that cold front will send temperatures crashing into the 40s by Friday, and that pattern will continue into next week. So in the meantime, enjoy the 50s like we have been seeing the past few days, and we'll see 60 degrees probably on Thursday. But for your Wednesday, expect a high of 57, mostly sunny skies. A very gorgeous day is expected for mid-November standards, and then overnight will cool down to only 41, so not too cold, with partly cloudy skies starting to fill in. And then partly cloudy skies will hold on Thursday with highs in the low 60s, like I said, until that cold front moves through Thursday night, Friday morning, bringing a decent chance of rain. Only a few hours of rain, though, is expected until we clear out Friday afternoon, but we'll also cool down on Friday with temperatures crashing back down into the mid-40s, and will likely stay in the mid-40s for several days after that. And that's your Wednesday forecast, brought to you by Trinity Health on the Muskegon Channel, and I'm Colin Woods Weather, and enjoy your day today.